Before you came up, we was talking to that individual there,
Right.
and we was telling him about the nations in the Bible,
Right.
different nations, the actual biblical nationalities. So I need you to show me. I need you to be nation specific, where it shows us in the scriptures that Moab, Ammon, Japheth, Esau can be saved. I need
Sure.
that passage where it's
Acts chapter
nation
2.
specific.
Acts chapter
nation
2.
specific.
Acts chapter 2.
No, we can't deal with
Acts
the
chapter
terms.
2.
Hold on, vocab. Hold on.
And
Because the terms Gentile, foreigner, stranger, that's a term. That's not a nationality. So those
that's
terms,
your presupposition.
those terms can be
Can't-
applied to any nation.
can't prove
That's
that.
not a nationality.
Can't
Gentile,
prove that.
Gentile is not a nation.
Gentile,
The Lord did not
Gentiles-
create the nation of Gentile.
No one ever said
So
Gentiles
the
a nation.
word Gentile can apply to one of the nations in the Bible. It can apply to a Moabite. It can apply to Israelite.
That's what you
The
believe.
term stranger to the first chapter.
I know the point. Oh, wait. We in a Hebrew hopscotch already.
And
No.
I
You
said let it
nation
be
specific,
nation
number
specific.
one.
Those are tongues.
Number
Acts
one.
chapter 2 is
Number
speaking
2,
about the tongues.
It says proselyte.
Read verse 5.
What is a
Read
proselyte?
verse 5.
What is a proselyte?
Read verse 5.
What is a proselyte?
Read verse 5.
What is a proselyte?
Read verse 5.
Define proselyte.
Read verse 5.
Define
You didn't answer my
proselyte.
question. You didn't answer my question.
Oh, so you answer me
Are
after
they,
I answer? Okay.
are they
that's cool.
speaking in tongues? Are they
Okay.
talking about the tongues that they were
Yes,
speaking?
they are speaking
Or is
in
it talking
tongues.
about the nations?
Now
they're
there were
from?
dwelling in Jerusalem Jews. Look at that.
Jews.
Devout men from every nation.
Oh, now you are the donkey of the day. You are the donkey of the day. Hee-haw.
Please give this giant jar of mayo the biggest hee-haw.
Hee-haw, hee-haw. That is way too much Dan mayonnaise.
Ooh.
Shalom, shalom, Yasha'Allah. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Waharakah Kwadash. Don't ever use Acts the 2nd chapter again. You received the donkey of the day, Hokab Malone. Now, as you see it in the intro, the brother had asked him, first and foremost, Hokab went into, he was the one that quoted Acts the 2nd chapter, not knowing that Acts the 2nd chapter, from the first verse on down, cuts his whole argument, right? And then the brother told him to go into the 5th verse, which shows the subject matter of who the scriptures is speaking to, and he did the natural Christian tap dance, the Christian break dance around the scriptures, right? Acts chapter 2 verse 5, and they were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. And at that time, there were devout Jews from every nation living in Jerusalem. So now here's the question that's posed to you tap dancing, break dancing Christians, right? Why were these people in Jerusalem? Why were they in Jerusalem? So he tried to use, it was Jews and proselytes, right? Now the question that I have for these tap dancing Christians, can a Jew be a proselyte? Now let's get into why these people, which were the Israelites, in Jerusalem at this time. Acts chapter 2 verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Now why were they keeping this day known as Pentecost? Right? Pentecost, right?
Strong's G 4005. Pentecoste. Pentecoste.
It means the 50th day. The second of the 3 great Jew feasts, celebrated at Jerusalem yearly, the 7th week after the Passover, and a great recognition of completed harvest. So this is the second of the 3, right? Great times that we are supposed to go to Jerusalem. I wonder, where can you find Pentecost at in the scriptures? Why were these men keeping Pentecost? See, this is a double cut to you Christians, because one, it shows that we was keeping the laws. We got to keep the laws to the best of our ability. And two, who were the laws given to? 3 times a year shuts down your argument, right? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 17. 3 times in the year, all thy males shall appear before the Lord thy power. At these 3 times each year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign, the Lord. So it didn't say every Moabite, every Ammonite, every Hittite, every Jebusite, every Canaanite, every Mizraimite, every Edomite, right? Every Amalekite. It said every Israelite man must appear before the sovereign Lord. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of thy first fruits, thy lid thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy power. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. So there were certain rules and instructions that we had to do, right, before we appear before the face of the Lord. So it was commanded, it was instructed that we go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. It wasn't instructed for nobody else but the Israelites. Let's get into it. 3 times a year shuts down your argument. Because you try to say, oh, it was newly converts. It was newly converts. So now my question to you is, can a Jew be a newly convert? Can a Benjamite be a newly convert? Can a Levite be a newly convert? Can a Ephraimite be a newly convert? Manassite, Gadite, Reubenite, Asherite, Naphthalite, Issacharite. Can those people be newly converts? Right? Can they be new believers? Right? Exodus chapter 34, verse 23. Thrice in a year shall all your male children appear before the Lord power, the power of Israel. 3 times each year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign Lord, power of Israel. It's to the point, man. This was instructed for the Israelites. The rules was given to the Israelites, right? Real quick, let me get that. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. These are the decrees and regulations and instructions that the Lord gave through Moses on Mount Sinai as evidence of the relationship between him and the Israelites. So us going to Jerusalem is to show our relationship with the Most High, right? And to gather with our brethren that we didn't see in a long time. Because all Israelites didn't live in the land of Israel. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel. This is why Christians hate the Old Testament. Because the word directly says Israelites, right? It doesn't say, Gentile. It doesn't say a stranger. It doesn't, it doesn't, it quotes stranger time from time, but it just blatantly says Israel, my people Israel, Zion. My lot of my inheritance is the children of Israel. So it's just blatant, and they don't want to deal with that no more, right? Leviticus 23:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. These are the Lord's appointed festivals, which you are to proclaim as official days of holy assembly. So in order for us, in order to keep the feast of Pentecost, you have to be an Israelite. All right? You have to be an Israelite. Why do I say that? Because the instructions was given to Israel. The rules, the regulations, the festivals was given to the Israelites. Now in the kingdom, the other nations will have to keep the Lord's statutes and commandments. But as of right now, the laws is given to the Israelites. The promises was given to the Israelites. And salvation belongeth to the Israelites. This is the Josephus. This is chapter 8. The polity settled by Moses and how he disappeared from among mankind. This is summary 7 or paragraph 7. It reads, it says, let those that live as remote as the bonds of the land which the Hebrews shall possess, the bounds of the land which the Hebrews shall possess, come to that city where the temple shall be, which is Jerusalem, and this 3 times in a year, as instructed in the scriptures and the law, that they may give thanks to the power from his former benefits, and may entreat him from those they shall want hereafter, and let them by this means maintain a friendly correspondence with one another by such meetings and feasting together, the appointed festivals as is stated in Leviticus. For it is a good thing for those that are of the same stock. What does the word stock mean? Let's look at that word stock. The goods or merchandise kept on the premise of a business of a warehouse. The capital raised, usually kept in stock. Usually kept in stock, regularly available. Alright, the stock that it's talking about is the Israelites. I couldn't find the right definition at the time. And under the same institution of laws, which was the rules, regulations, and instructions written in the Torah, not to be inadequate with each other, which acquaintance will be maintained by thus conversing together, and by seeing and talking with one another, and so renewing the memorials of this union. Because wherever Israel was, right, 3 times out of the year, we would have to come in fellowship. We would have to come and reunite as a family, right? What is that? This is Matthew chapter 22, verse 37. Yahushua said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. It says, on these two commandments hang all the laws and the prophets. Because the whole purpose of the Lord, statutes, and commandments is how to love the Lord and serve the Lord, and how to love your brother or your neighbor and serve your neighbor and love your neighbor. That's what the Lord, statutes, and commandments are for. How to love and serve the Lord, your God of Israel, and how to love and serve your neighbor, which was your brother, your sister, your daughter, your father, your son, your uncle, your aunt, right? And your next door neighbor, right? Your kinsmen, family members, or your friends, right? Or people of another tribe, right? That's on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So the whole purpose of these three high holy days, or these three festivals, was so no matter how long we went without seeing each other, no matter how long we went without speaking to each other, on these 3 days we had to come to Jerusalem so we can fellowship, so we can catch up, right? It says, renewing the memorials of this union. It was the memorials of this union that the relationship to show we the Most High's people and He's our God. When we came to Jerusalem 3 times a year, that was to show that we are His people and He's our God, right? For if they do not thus converse together continually, they will appear like mere strangers one to another. See, there it goes right there. Come on, man. That's a bomb. That's a nuclear bomb right there. It says, for if they do not thus converse together continually, they will appear like mere strangers to one another. Come on now, that happens with us. You didn't see a family member in a long time. He comes back or she comes back. Her hair grew, his hair grew. Or they lost their hair, or they gained weight, or they lost weight, they got in shape, or they eating healthier, their skin is glowing, or they look sickly. You ain't going to recognize them. They're going to look like a stranger to you. Or if they move to another country or another state, and then they come back with an accent, or they learned another language, they're going to look like a stranger to you. You ain't going to be able to recognize them. Come on now. How much more back then? Israelites dwelling in different nations, wearing the clothes and the customs of the other nations, the hairstyles of the other nations, the languages of the other nations. They will appear like mere strangers to one another. Goes to show you that Israelites can be strangers. So that's why I pose this question to the Christians. Can Israelites be proselytes? Can Israelites be converts? Can a Benjamite be a convert? Can a Benjamite be a proselyte? Can a Levite be a proselyte? Can an Ephraimite be a proselyte? Can a Manassite be a proselyte? Can a Naphthalite be a proselyte? Can a Manassite be a proselyte? Can a Gadite be a proselyte? Can an Issacharite be a proselyte? Can a Reubenite be a proselyte? Can an Asherite be a proselyte? Right? Can any of these tribes be proselytes? That's my question to you Christians. Can they be converts? But pretty much that's it. I pray and hope that you was edified. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Wahar Rakakwadash. Till next time I say Shalom.